people, ¿cómo están? Yo soy Brenda y bienvenidos a otro Bright Readers en este canal, esta sección donde yo les hablo de libros. Hoy en este video tenemos una invitada que si ustedes hace un año me hubieran dicho que podía platicar con ella y tenerla en un video para el canal, no les hubiera creído. Y es que tuve la oportunidad de platicar con Jenny Han. ¡Guau! Ustedes saben que a mí me gustan muchísimo sus historias, de seguro la conocen por A todos los chicos de los que me enamoré. Ya hemos hablado de esos libros aquí en el canal y también de sus adaptaciones en Netflix. Y ella también escribió El verano en que me enamoré, que es esta trilogía de la que vamos a estar hablando en esta entrevista. Ella nos va a platicar un poquito más acerca de qué se trata. Pero bueno, ya no les digo más y vamos a empezar con esta entrevista con Jenny Han.
Hi, Brenda. Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you, Jenny?
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. How has your day been? I'm guessing a busy day.
Yeah, I had another interview and another something else after this, so I'm good. I'm just busy.
So for all of those watching this video that don't know who Jenny Han is, she's an incredible author, and I'm super happy to have you here, and I'm sure my audience is just as excited to have you here.
Oh, so nice to be here. Hey, guys.
She has wrote incredible stories such as To All the Boys I've Loved Before, The Summer I Turned Pretty, which we're going to talk about it today, and among others. And your books are on top of charts. They've been very popular among readers, and I want to congratulate you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
When did you start to feel like this was getting as big as it is right now?
I've been writing for a long time. I guess my first book I started writing when I was in college, and I sold it when I was in graduate school. And so when I think I was 24 for the first one. And so it's kind of been a long journey of working and, not like overnight success type of thing, but more of being in the game for a long time and building up my readership, who've been so amazing.
So you've always been surrounded by books. How was your childhood like?
Oh, I mean, I was reading every second. I was reading the bathtub, in the toilet, at the dinner table, in the car. I was always reading, gobbling up everything. I would go to the library every day because my school bus dropped me off there. And so I read everything the library had.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And, I've always been really passionate about books. And I went to graduate school for writing, but then I was also working at a bookstore, and then I was working in a library, and I interned at a publishing house. So I'm somebody who's always been really crazy about reading and books.
And the fact that right now books are your job, I think that's every reader's dream.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about The Summer I Turned Pretty, your trilogy that starts with this book and then comes It's Not Summer Without You. And it ends with We'll Always Have Summer. You see, I have them all here with me. For the people who have not read these books yet, what can they find here?
I think they can find, it's a summer romance, but it's really about a girl coming of age and coming into her own. And you really get to experience that period of like childhood and adolescence and young adulthood all with her, because it goes over the course of 3 books. And there's a lot of like flashbacks. And so you see her as a child, and everything kind of informs everything else.
And I think it is amazing that even after all these years that these books have been published, we're still talking about them because they're great stories.
Oh, thank you.
And looking back at your work, would you change something about them now?
I try not to look back, because I think there's always things that you want to change. But I think of it as a moment in time. It's like a little photograph that you have. It's a moment in time of like what culture looked like and society looked like, but also what the author looked like. And so, I'm not the same person or writer that I was, when I was writing those books, but I think it's important to kind of like take that snapshot and keep it as it is, just to remember what that moment was like.
And did you miss your characters and talking about them? And now that you're still talking about Billy and Jeremiah, is there like an encounter with old friends?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I mean, that was, I guess, so my first book was called Shug, and that was my second book. Summer I Turned Pretty was. And I think I was probably a lot more free in the way that I wrote back then because I was still kind of figuring out what my process was. And so it is funny to look back on it and just think about, who the characters are and who I was. And it's all kind of like mixed together into one thing.
So in this book, we have Belly. And me as a reader, I used to get mad at Belly for all the decisions she was taking. Maybe because I'm older than her and I was like, don't do that. That's not the right thing. So I want to ask, how do you put yourself in the shoes of a teenager?
Really important to be honest and like truthful. And sometimes people would say that about her. They were like, oh, why is she making these mistakes? Or why is she so unsure? I think to me, that feels like that's who the character is. And it's very realistic to her. It's not, necessarily what I would do or, what the reader would do, but it's who she is. And so for me, my goal is always to tell a story that feels really honest and true to the characters.
Yeah, because if I think of myself as Belly's age, I think I would have done the same. But now that I'm older, I would be like, maybe that's not the right choice. But yeah, it's part of growing up with her.
Well, I think that's what, the story is about. It's really, I think when you experience love for the first time, when you're young, you have not had your heart crushed yet. You're still really hopeful and impulsive and like maybe a little bit wild in the way that you treat love. And I think there's something really lovely about that, about being really honest in a moment and making bad decisions and falling flat in your face. And that's how you learn, and grow.
If I had to describe this trilogy in 3 words, it would be fresh, drama, and growth. How would you describe them in 3 words?
I would say bittersweet, romantic, adolescence.
And talking about To All the Boys I've Loved Before, the third movie is yet to be released. Mm-hmm. Production is wrapped, and will we be seeing a cameo of yours in this third movie?
You have to wait and see. I can't tell you. Keep your eyes out. You never know.
And in the last cameos, we saw you in the like consoling a girl that was crying, and then in the school dance. Did you choose where you wanted to appear in the movie, or was it director's choice?
The director's idea.
Yeah. You were all down for being in the movie.
Yeah.
And let's imagine there's like another world. Do you think that Belly and Lara Jean could be friends?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, because they're both like good-hearted people, and I think they would be good friends. And they're both like kind of, I think Belly's a bit more impulsive and maybe honest in the way she feels. I think she kind of says what she's thinking a lot quicker than Lara Jean, who's kind of more in her head.
More quiet.
Yeah, more dreamy. But I think they would get along well.
When I think about Jenny Han, I think she's an expert in love because of all these great stories you're writing. What are your thoughts on young love nowadays in social media era?
In social media era.
Yeah, with why haven't you posted a picture of me on your Instagram, or why didn't you like my Facebook post? It's all weird.
Of not just love or being a teenager, I think just in general being a person who's alive in this moment, everything is much more public. So, people look at who you follow or if you like their picture or not. And there's less like privacy just in general. Like you can walk down the street and probably there will be a camera on you just from like CCTV or you know what I mean? Like whatever.
Yeah.
Lights or whatever. And that didn't always used to be the case. Things used to be really much more, I think, local. so that I would say, yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge for young people to be in love, is that like you're so much more public, and any mistakes that you make could be a lot more public.
Everyone will know about it.
Yeah, I think it's being more careful. Maybe if I'm going to put my big sister hat on, I would say don't put anything out there that you don't want other people to potentially see one day, because it's you know, and I think that's for anybody, not just teenagers. It's like people, when you tweet something or when you say something, I think everybody sometimes wants to tell a funny joke on Twitter or put up a funny picture, and you get maybe caught up in the moment and you don't think too much about the impact it could have. And so almost everyone I know has made a mistake at some point with putting something online. And I think even being a writer, you know, we're talking about books that I wrote when I was in my mid-20s too. And I think everything that you put out there has impact, and you, I think, should always be really thoughtful about that.
Yeah, don't overshare stuff.
I mean, look, people like to share online, but I think it's just thinking to yourself, how would I feel if this was made public in a year or two too?
And there's this whole dilemma on the internet with young adult books. I'm totally against it, but there's people that say to young readers, you shouldn't be reading this type of books. You should be reading something real. So I want to ask you as a young adult writer, what are your thoughts on this? What would you say to these people?
I think that I'm not a fan of making people feel guilty for the kind of TV shows they watch or the books that they read. I don't really believe in like guilty pleasures when it comes to that. I think you like what you like, and not everything. Sometimes you just want to, you know, relax and read something like more light or more hopeful. And I think that's okay too. I think that you want different things at different times. And so there's nothing wrong with that.
Everyone should read whatever they feel like at the moment.
Yeah. It's not hurting anybody. I don't see why not.
So before we close this interview, you're probably going to hate me for this question. So if you were in high school, who would you be crushing on? Peter Kay, Jeremiah, or Conrad?
Probably Conrad.
You're more of a Conrad girl.
I think that there was something about like the guy that was quiet, and I would wonder what he was thinking about. You know what I mean? Like a little bit more of like a sensitive soul. Probably was thinking about nothing important, but I think that was interesting to me, is wondering and imagining what that person was like.
I think I would be crushing more on Jeremiah. I'm more of a Jeremiah type of girl.
And like he makes everybody feel good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like he's more down to earth.
You're right.
So thank you so much, Jenny, for being here on my channel.
It's so fun.
I'm glad I got to talk to you for a few moments.
Bye.
Have an amazing day.
You too.
De verdad que no se imaginan toda la emoción que sentí. Creo que ustedes la pudieron ver en el video. No podía dejar de sonreír. Y cuando terminó la llamada tuve que ir directito con mi mamá a contarle todo. Espero que este video les haya gustado muchísimo. Comenta en la parte de abajo cuál fue tu parte favorita. Y si te gustaría que tuviéramos algún otro invitado en esta sección de Bright Readers, también puedes dejarlo en los comentarios. No olviden conseguir la trilogía de El verano en que me enamoré. Próximamente les voy a hacer un video más a fondo contándoles más acerca de este libro y de los personajes, pero desde ahorita les digo que está súper bonita. Pero bueno, muchas gracias por ver este video. No olviden que los quiero muchísimo y nos vemos la próxima semana. Bye!